they hurt for keep the same for you.
Hey everyone, and welcome to CTV. My name is Sierra Artemis, and I am your host. Guys, I got a very, very special show for us today, guys, and I don't want to give too much away, but while I have your attention, be sure to follow me on social media. That is Sierra Artemis TV on Facebook. I am Sierra Artemis on Instagram, Sierra Artemis on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm also on Twitter, the Sierra Artemis TV, and my website. You can check that out. That's sierraartemis.com. There you can view past episodes and you can get information on upcoming episodes. Guys, you know that I am always advocating for us to support small businesses, initiatives, all that good stuff. And it's very simple. You don't have to do much. You don't even have to spend a dime. So let me tell you how you can support a small business, guys. All right. So you can do a shout out. That is $0. You can follow them on social media. That's $0. You could tell someone that costs nothing. You can engage with their posts, cost you, again, absolutely nothing. You can share their content. That's my favorite. It's free for the grand total of free 99. So if your excuse to not wanting to support someone is because, hey, I ain't got it right now, guess what? It's super easy. It's free. It don't take you much of nothing at all to click a button, share it, comment, interact, engage with the post, guys. I mean, it's super, super simple. If you guys are just tuning in to CTV for the first time, we'll let you know a little bit about the show. The purpose is to highlight small businesses, bring visibility to minority businesses, creatives, entrepreneurs, and initiatives, and hopes to inspire you on the other side of the screen to go out and chase your goals and your dreams, guys. My guest today, I mean, this guy is like a legend, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh my gosh, like Kobe. I'm just kidding. It's one of my good friends, Kevin Felder with the Red Radio Show. Hey, Big Red.
What's happening?
His business hours are from 9 to 5.
Listen, you got it. First of all, your intro is out of this world. Wow. I mean, I was backstage like, hey.
I saw you jigging. I can see you in the back. Yeah, shout out to Herc. Shout out to Big Herc for that beat. He does all of my instrumentals. That's my guy right there.
Did that. Salute to you. Right. I'm on CTV. What up?
Thank you. So just a little background information on Kevin, guys. We kind of networked through music, and then, from there we built a media friendship. I remember not too long ago, I was in this place where I left television and I just didn't know what I would be without media. So I reached out to Kevin, and Kevin, do you remember what you told me?
Kevin's don't.
Like, I don't. All right. Well, let me remind you.
Remind me.
You told me, you know what, write a vision, make it plain. But being me, I'm not that simple. I'm like, I gotta have bells and whistles, as you can see. TV. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but basically, yeah, guys. I mean, I had to step out of my fear, and thus, I started. After he told me that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do what I can do for free. I'm gonna go ahead and start planning, and thus, I was able to birth this. So I really wanted to make sure at some point I brought you on the show because, I want to thank you for giving me the push, the motivation. You need people like Kevin in your corner, Big Red in your corner.
Wow, man, but you were already doing the work though.
Right.
Like I know what I do remember is messaging you or texting you and saying, you need your own show. Like you would pop up and go live. And I'm like, hilarious. Yeah, like this is so good. And people are tuning in. You create great content. You need your own show. Like we've been saying that. So it's amazing to just see you walking in this right now. Like I'm legit excited to be here. Like this is not just an interview. I'm excited to sit in the middle of the thing that you have birthed. So this is gonna be real good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And you know what? Besides, or the difference I'd say between this interview and other interviews, besides this is going to feel more like a therapy session. One, I haven't talked to you in a while, so it's going to be more like a catch up for us. And also, it's almost like you're in my. It's almost like you have your world, you have the radio world, and then this is like my broadcast world. So it's almost like I'm welcoming you into my home. So it feels like I have you as a guest in my home, not like a guest on my show.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Let's kick back and relax.
For real.
Yeah.
So enough about me, enough about my show. Let's talk about you. Let's get into Big Red and this journey. So how did you get to Big Red Radio? First of all, let's give us a little backdrop, a little back information on the Big Red Radio show. And then how did you get there?
Yeah. So the Big Red Radio show is a nationally syndicated Christian hip hop, Christian pop, and rhythm and praise program. We are, as of today, at this recording time, we are on 25 radio stations across the country. We're in Augusta, Georgia, Columbia, South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, Tampa, Richmond, Orlando. So, I mean, all over the country and growing. And I think the best way to say, like, how did we get here? It was like a 10-year journey to get here.
Wow.
It wasn't like, okay, this is what I want to do with my life. It was steps all along the way, things being revealed to me as I went and served in particular areas. So, it started on the playgrounds of Creighton Middle School.
Oh, wow.
With my guy, Patrick Coakley and Brian Williams introducing me to hip hop, right? Giving me a love for rapping. They taught me how to rap. Okay. Freestyle rap. Don't ask me to do it now, but but back then I wanted to be as nice as they were. They introduced me to rap. And then, so I would rap all the time. And then I got saved and I yielded my rapping to Jesus. So Big Red, the Christian hip hop artist was born. So I was in the music scene. Then I was also in radio at the same time, working for the gospel radio station WFMV in Columbia, South Carolina. And I saw that as an artist, there weren't many spaces for artists like me to have my voice heard. So you got this great music and you're pitching it to all these radio stations and they're like, that's good. But I found that it was too hip hop for the church and it was too church for hip hop. They're like, they ain't know what to do with it. So, as my wife and I were praying about what do we want to do with the next 10 years of our lives? Like, what do we want to put our feet in the ground and say, this is the thing that we want to work on? We decided that we want to be a part of building platforms for artists like me who are looking for a place to have their voice heard. So that's what the Big Red Radio show is all about.
That's awesome. I definitely love that. I love that journey, that testimony, because a lot of great businesses and a lot of great companies, they come from or products come from finding out what a need is and then providing that need. And you and your wife, you guys created a platform, and so that's amazing. So let's talk about that process it took you to actually formulate and break away from regular radio. Like, so what steps did you take, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So I was in radio for 10 years. I actually started out on the sales side of radio. I always wanted to be on air. And I was like, I'll do this little sales thing until something on air opens up. And National Radio Day was not too many days ago. And I shared this, that Mr. Alex Snipe, who was the owner of Glory Communications, who is the owner of Glory, he pulled me in the office one day and he said, Kevin, if you can master sales, you can do anything that you want to do in this radio industry. Right. And so it was having the tandem of sales and being able to dabble on the on-air side, learning how to monetize your content. Little did I know that I would be using that very 1-2 punch to do what I'm doing right now, to fund this dream. So I served at WFMV for 10 years. I backed up for almost 3 years to focus solely on my music ministry as Big Red. I was like, I need to go all in. I need to see what will happen if I just go all in with this thing. We did some really dope things. I went on a couple of tours. We released some new music, shot a music video. We had a lot of fun. And then an opportunity came for me to be a part of the launch of a Christian hip hop FM station in Columbia, Millennial FM 95.9. So I got back into radio and served there for 3 years, right? So now I've seen, man, it's this music does have a home,
Right.
and I, again, just looking at, okay, well, what's next? I wanted to be a part of taking that sound to the country, and to the world. So, I prayerfully backed up, I resigned from Millennial and still have a great relationship. My show airs on Millennial FM, .com now and on WFMV. So don't burn bridges, right?
Okay.
But that was the setup, it was all of those steps that led up to, okay, I've seen this now. Okay, how do we get this sound out further? How do we replicate this across the country? And now we're able to do that, through the Big Red Radio Show.
That's amazing. And you know what? I didn't intend to preach. That ain't what I intend to do. But there was something that you said.
Get my notebook. Hold on.
Okay. It was something that you said that really resonated with me. And I mean, it was literally the Spirit just speaking. Sometimes we get upset about where we are in life and we feel like, well, God, this is what I want to do. And then you end up in another place. You end up next to it. But God puts you in a place to watch sometime, like I remember when I got into television, I really wanted to be an anchor, or I wanted to be a reporter. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be seen and heard and all of the above. And when I got into television, the first opportunity I got was a news producer. And I'm like, shoot, if I get my foot in the door, I can squeeze my body in, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was a lot that I needed to learn from the back, so that I can watch. And so I could take notes, so I could research. And you know what I found? Oddly, I really love the control that I had as a producer. I really love, being able to be the creative. Like I am the puppeteer and the anchors are my puppets. I can get them to say and do what I want them to do. You know what I'm saying? And so I realized, sometimes God don't want you to be the head. Sometimes he wants you to be the neck, so you can move the head. You know what I'm saying? Look. And it's so crazy to me that, as soon as you said, you started off in sales, I'm like, man, that's the important part.
Right.
Hey, that's the money, right. And God was like, hey, you can talk on the radio. You can create the content. How you going to make this money? So, amen. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, and that's also not just confirmation for me, but it makes me feel good. And it allows the people who are watching, if you feel like you haven't gotten that promotion, you feel like you haven't gotten that raise, or you haven't, taken that first step to start that business, it's like sometimes you just got to stay where you are and focus on what it is God wants you to see, take notes. And then when that opportunity is ready for you, come on now, when it's ready for you, because sometimes it ain't you that's ready. It's the opportunity that ain't ready for you.
For you. Right.
Exactly. And right. So I felt like that was beautiful right there. What you said.
Listen, so I thought, if I can interject here, because I like to shout people out when I can. I don't get opportunities like this to thank people publicly for the seeds that they sowed and the investments that they made in my life. Like, I was working on this week's show, and as I was working on part of the show, I had a flashback to the program director from WFMV, Tony G, Elder Tony G, Tony Green, right? Pulling me aside and showing me how to use Cool Edit, the audio editing software. Right. I had a flashback. So I'm whizzing through this. I'm like, click here, drag. Okay. Fade out, fade the music in, get the loop for the music. And I'm just doing it. I feel like I'm in the Matrix. Right. But I remember when I was struggling and Tony G would pull me aside, after hours and before hours. I would come into the station early before my sales job started. I would say, hey, Tony, can you take a little time and show me how do you do this? Because he was a whiz at production, and he would stay after his shift and help me to learn how to produce. So I'm able to do what I do now because of people like that who, who took some time with the sales guy to show me how to produce my own spots. And now I'm producing my show.
That's awesome.
So, and man, there was so many times, I can't tell you how many times I used to try to hide that I was the sales guy. I was like, being on air that's the fun part. Everybody, when you say you work at a radio station, it's like, oh, what time do you come on?
Right. Same in news.
I don't.
I wrote what they said. Listen to what I had wrote here.
It's like, oh, okay. But now I appreciate it so much and am thankful for learning.
Amen. So let me I'm not gonna piggyback. I'm gonna backtrack. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna back. How in the world did you come up with Big Red as a name for yourself?
For myself.
Sounds like it was given to you.
Yeah, it actually started in high school. They deny this, but I know that this is where it came from. Some of my best friends were our crew, right?
Right.
We literally called the crew. It was just the crew.
Okay, crew.
We all had food nicknames. We had food nicknames. Did you just Scooby-Doo on me? You just Scooby-Doo?
Because I was thinking it's gonna be the 5 heartbeats.
No, it's not deep. It's not deep at all. It's not. No, we all had food nicknames. So somebody was Cornflake. Somebody was what was some of the other name? There was what was her? It was Cornflake. Somebody was Rump Roast. Somebody was Collard Greens. And then my friend Adrian McDaniel, I'm gonna call him out. Adrian McDaniel was Winter Fresh, the bubble gum, right?
Oh my goodness.
He was a little, people thought he was mean or whatever. He's really a big teddy bear, but he had this persona that came off like he's like the tough guy. And me and him, that was my dude. Like that was my road dog in high school. And so we were like kid and play, man. So they're like, well, if he's Winter Fresh, then you Big Red. So I literally was like, it started with the bubble gum.
Who did the naming? Was there one person?
I don't know where
you guys is like, we're gonna just go along with it. It's cool. I'm surprised.
I'm gonna call you Collard Greens. You gonna be Rump Roast. You gonna be Cornflake.
None of this goes together. Like none of these things go together.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, when you're young, man. When you're young,
my goodness.
Right? But that's where it started. And to this day, like we still like, I'm not gonna call them out. I'm not gonna identify them.
Oh my goodness.
Not gonna attach their nickname to their real life name now. But to this day, like when we see each other, it's like, what up, Flake? Now I don't call the other person, Rump Roast anymore, but my nickname stuck. So it's Big Red. It literally came from the bubblegum. It wasn't,
I love it.
Somebody came up to me at a show one time and was like, the Lord told me why your name is Big Red. And it's something about the blood. And I was like, nah, man.
Beware of false prophets.
He waited on the line to tell me what the Lord told him. What he had something for everything. Like it was an acronym. Like the blood and I don't even remember it. But anyway.
But I appreciate it. It applies now, so thank you. All you can do is say thank you. That is
I'm sure it has something to do with me being, this right here. So just being high yellow, really.
And you know what? Honestly, and that's what I assumed. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how mean. Look at him flipping negative, turning into positive. It was gum, y'all. Just gum. Oh my goodness. Guys, if you're just tuning in, I am here with Big Red Gum, Kevin Felder, the host and executive producer of the Big Red Radio Show. Guys, we talked about his journey in radio. We even talked about how he helped to motivate me to create my show. Thanks again, Kevin. Be sure to share this video right now. If you're just tuning in, if you're a Big Red Cornflake, Rump Roast, all your homeboy, your friends from high school, share this post. Instagram is Big Red Radio. Make sure you put 2 D's in there because it's 2 D's in there. If you do one D, I don't know where you're going to end up at, but it is.
You're going to go to the bubble gum.
Probably.
That's why I added the second D.
Yeah.
I added the second D.
All right, guys. And at the bottom of the screen, scrolling, you will see the website. So make sure you tune in to check out Big Red, that's 2Ds, radioshow.com. You can check out the music there as well. So tell us all the ways that we can listen to Big Red Radio.
So the easiest way is to, like you said, go to bigredradioshow.com. We always update every time we get a new affiliate. We update the website, and there's 3 easy big buttons that say, well, first listen live, and then you'll say Saturday, Sunday, and you'll see the list of all the stations and the times that the show plays, and you can pick a time and just click and listen to the show. So that's always the easiest way. It has been a marketing nightmare at times, like, hey, listen on Friday at 8 and Saturday at 3. I'm like, just go to bigredradioshow.com, but it airs all weekend long. So 5 o'clock in Killeen, Texas, all the way to Sunday night at 6 o'clock p.m. So you literally could like pick a time. What I tell people to do is pick your favorite time and set a reminder in your phone so you never forget. You know, I have people that set an alarm in their phone, like, oh, Big Red Radio Show is about to come on, ready, so I can tune in.
All right, guys. So we're also going to ask Kevin some questions about the challenges. So Kevin, tell me a little bit about the challenges that you've had to overcome with creating this platform.
Well, when the Lord spoke to me about launching this show, we had the date set, and we were going to launch in May of 2020.
Oh,
and, yeah. And then the pandemic happened. So we had this elaborate plan of doing these, you know, the concerts, and because that's my thing. That's my wheelhouse. Like I can concert together. I can monetize it. We were going to be everywhere where the show was launching. We were going to have artists come through. It was going to be a phenomenal launch, right? You know, you're going to see this and feel it. It's not just going to be on the radio. You're going to feel it and see it and experience it. And then the pandemic happened. So we were challenged with, do we still launch? How do you launch online only with a radio? That was totally out of my, and I'm sure a lot of us had to pivot and like, well, how do you do that now? How do you do this in person? But we had to figure that out. I'd never done a launch out being able to see people, touch people, handshake, pass out flyers, pass out swag. But we launched online on Instagram with a pre-show. We had Grammy Award winning artist Erica Campbell came on, CJ King, recording artist out of Atlanta, and my pastor, Bishop Herbert Bailey, came on. And they each spoke to the importance of having a show like this. But so that was a challenge, like launching fully online, figure out how to target people the right way to get them to tune in. And then I think the other greatest challenge has been, you know, because COVID hurt the radio industry so bad.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you literally had PDs who are already tough. And excuse me, I'm using radio lingo, program directors, right? The people who make the decisions on programming. So they're already tough to reach, but now they're at home. They're having to work from home. They're setting up studios from home. They're running an entire radio station from their living room. And I'm the last person that they want to talk to about adding a new program. So, you know, they're worried about like, man, are we going to stay on the air? Advertising had fallen off. So our industry was hit so hard from a rating standpoint and from a revenue standpoint. You took away all that morning drive traffic, all that home traffic. That's ratings. You know, advertisers started pulling out. So again, nobody wants to talk to an independent, brand new radio show talking about spending dollars with, you know, Mercedes, Coca-Cola, you know, McDonald's. They like, who listen, we trying to pivot right now. Talk to us in 6 months or when we get so that was a challenge. And I think I'm just now starting to you know, hit a stride with it now that things are back to a greater sense of normalcy in the radio industry. But getting new affiliate program directors, getting advertisers during the toughest thing that has ever hit these generations, it was challenging. But, one of my great friends, Lamiron Jenkins, you got to have people that you can go to and that can sharpen you, right?
Right.
Like, he's a brother that I can just lay it all out in front of and be like, man, this is tough. Like, I don't know. I'm even questioning whether, like, man, maybe I'm misguided. It shouldn't feel like this. This is a great thing. And I don't feel like we're really moving. And he said, bro, if you can push, because I used to tell him, he said, and we ask each other like this, like, how does it feel? I say, it feels like I am going through quicksand, like uphill in quicksand with a like army book bag on and trying to run. It's like, that's what I feel like. I feel nowhere. Meanwhile, we're adding stations. It look online. It looks like, oh man, he got another station. Oh, he got another station. I felt like I was trying to run in quicksand. I felt like I was moving so slow. If I felt like I was failing. And Lamiron told me, he said, man, if you can get 25 stations running through quicksand, he said, when things change, you're gonna hit the ground running, and you're gonna, what you're gonna be able to accomplish, you ain't even able to conceive what it's gonna look like. And those words were so timely and so necessary, like, keep pushing. And I'll never forget that.
I love that. That's so powerful. Sometimes and I tell this to friends often that, work in media and have all this experience under their belt. See, I never got an opportunity to get a lot of experience. I'm still getting my experience now. And, I kind of look up to all of you and I'm like, man, they got to do this, and that. So when you hear people that inspire you, that you look up to, that everyone goes through stuff, it's like, it's humbling. And and I don't mean like humbling, like, oh man, I feel so much better now. It's like, wow, if you can use what you went through and build a successful platform, like, I can do it too. It makes it I can't explain it. It just makes it feel obtainable, because sometimes you feel like some people have so much experience that a lot of the resources and the things that you want to do is out of reach. When it's really not, and we all go through things. It's just, and you look so cool doing everything, Kevin. You're so cool. Big red stick of gum.
How much time we got?
We got time.
Listen, even with you just saying that, I got to stick a pin there. Honestly, I fell back off of social media too. Like, I stopped going live. I in pictures. Like, if you go back and you look at how I promoted during the pandemic, I didn't even really put my face out. And part of that was like, first of all, like, well, that's a whole nother thing. But I just didn't, for whatever reason, I decided, like, man, I don't feel like doing that level of engagement. Like, it really hit me really hard. The fact that I felt like I'm not doing what I should be doing, which is crazy to look back at now, but that's just where I was, So it's funny. You say you look so cool. Like, honestly, you didn't really even see me. You saw promos.
Right. The promos.
You saw promos, you heard my voice, but I didn't let people really see my face, and I don't know if I would say I regret that per se. I may have like needed to go through that. So I know, like, listen, I don't care what life hits you with again, like, still show up, let people see your journey for where you are, you know? But it's interesting that you said that you look so cool. It's like, man, I didn't even show my face. I didn't even get to do a promo, like a proper promo shoot. All the things that I wanted to do that you would normally do in a rollout, like your photo shoot and your wardrobe and all that. Like, I had to use an old picture of myself just to launch the show. So if you're watching, well, obviously you're watching, be encouraged. Like, and I know, I do remember telling you this, like, start where you are, use what you got, and God will bless. If God said to do it, then go. and use what you got and go with that. You know, like you can't wait on the $300 thing. Start with the $50 thing. If you got the $50 thing, let's roll. You know,
like I tell people
when we started, I didn't have the equipment that I have when I started. I added it as I went. You know, as the show increased, then I added pieces. Okay, I can get this now. I can get this now. We got a little bit more. All right, I can add this. I can get a light kit now. You know, like all of these different things. But you just you add on as you go. But you got to start where you are.
Amen. And I was just going to add to that. I was like, you know, when the pandemic happened, you know, I told myself in January, I was like, I'm about to do this. I'm about to do this. You know, I've had my son for a month now. I'm kind of getting the swing of things. I thought I was. You know, new kids, that's what you thought. And then, man, March hit. And I was like, man, when I get my tax returns, you know, because I hadn't been working, you know, I was before. I was like, I'm going to invest what I got in some equipment. And then the pandemic hit and we started getting stimulus checks too. I said, you know, I know this might seem bad. And I said, but, you know, it's so crazy that, you know, God saw us through, you know, he provided, you know, my fiance and I both weren't working, you know, and yet I was still able to, you know, here and there get things that I needed for my show, my mic, my flag, you know, logo, graphics, you know, anything, you know, I was like, you know, anything I can get my hands on, anybody that I knew that did something, you know, because there were so many businesses popping up too, which, because honestly and truly, I kept praying. I'm like, God, you going to give me a name for this show? God, you going to give me content? What people going to listen to? And then I was like, you know, everything that I did from, you know, I got my photo shoot afterwards. So you can always go back and do a photo shoot. You know, you could do like a grand relaunch, you know, type thing. You know, you can always do that. And I was like, you know, I paid photographers that I knew. Shout out to Kingdom Vision Photography, my cousin. You know, I got a guy to make beats hurt, a guy named Major that made my graphics and everything for me. They were all small businesses. And I'm like, dude, there's a lot of businesses out there and people need to know about them, you know, and I use my platform, you know, of course, my intro, outro, graphics and music and all that stuff to promote those people. But there was something there. And, you know, earlier on in life, I found that literally God is the author and the finisher of your faith. You know, he knows what's going to happen. He knows what has happened. And we have to get into this place where we really we let God do God and stop trying to help him, you know, and I learned to just watch again. Like I told you, that was one of my things. Like, it's all happening for a reason. Something is lining up the way God wants it to line up. And it's that gives me encouragement. I'm like, all right, sometimes I'm all antsy because I like to have control of everything. And I'm a perfectionist. I have things. There's a way that I want it to be before I can produce it. Before I show you, I want you, this is my baby. I want my baby to be cute. I don't want y'all talking about my baby, you know? And so, in those times when things are out of your hands, it's because they're out of your hands. They are in his hands. You can't control it if it's not in your hands because it's not in your hands. And so, you know, with a lot of the things that was happening that I didn't have control over, like literally I had a lady tell me when I was 18, if it's out of your control, don't even worry about it. And I didn't know. You know, they say you understand when you get older. Oh, you do. Right. Do. You do. Speaking of things, when you grow, you learn as you get older. Kids, man, let's talk about family. You know, we both have, you have more than me, but you have your youngest one the same age as mine. So how do you balance all of this? How are we balancing family with work?
It's been a journey. You know, it's been a journey. So the pandemic hit and everybody was at home. So we have a almost 2-year-old, you know, we have a now 4th grader and a 2nd grader. So, you know, the older two were in virtual, which they needed a lot of attention. The baby needs attention. And, you know, mom, my wife, shouts out to wifey, Dr. Tisha M. Felder. You know, she is a boss. You know, she is now, well, let me say it this way. When we were going through the pandemic, she was going up for tenure. So she's a professor. Okay. Oh, awesome. And she was going up for tenure. And I remember us having some tough discussions. Like, choice where she could either say, I'm going to put this off for a year or I'm going to push through. Now. And so we're in the middle of the toughest time a lot of us are ever going to see in our lifetime, and he made the decision, I'm going to push through in the middle of all of this. So she's working full time from home. The kids are virtual. They all need attention. I'm launching a radio show, a nationally syndicated radio show, which I produced from my home studio, right? Everybody in the house.
I can only imagine how loud.
my lamb. So so both of us have these, like, we both out here trying to get it. We both trying to get it at the same time. She is a boss, and I'm trying to launch something. So it was tough. It was really tough, but God worked it out. He worked it out. He worked it all in. And there just had to be times where we literally, and still to this day, this is how we're in the rhythm now. But what we had to learn how to say, all right, what do you have? Literally every day we'd be like, okay, what kind of meetings do you have today? How long are your meetings?
Oh yeah.
We had to create a family calendar so that I would see when you have a meeting. Okay. Then after your meetings, how much time do you need to work after your meetings? Then we have to eat. We have to spend time with each other. So, every day I'm looking at it like, well, I guess I get to start working around 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. But we did what we had to do. And then there were other days where she had a lighter day and she would say, okay, I'll be all in with the kids today. You go upstairs and you handle what you got to handle. So we got in that rhythm. We had to literally support each other and be all in. And the frustration comes in, and she helped me with this. She would help me identify when I would get frustrated. The frustration would come when I was with the kids, but I would be trying to work. So I'm like, well, I need to be editing this, or I need to be writing copy for this segment of the show. And I got the laptop out while the kids are kind of around and doing their thing. And it's like, you're going to always be frustrated. When you're with the kids, you need to be all in with the kids. She helped me with that, and that helped me. That was such a nugget. That was such wisdom. And I think it helped me to become a better dad. It helped me to be a more involved parent. I don't want my kids to be talking about me, 10, 15 years from now and be like, yeah, man, my dad, he did X, Y, Z, but he never really was there.
Present. Right.
I don't want, I was there, but I wasn't there.
Right.
That would be a travesty to me. So, and I'm still working on that. I don't have it all together. I'm still working on that. Cause if it ain't the laptop, it's the phone. You're feeling like, oh, I need to check on this reel. Let me see how this is performing. I bought this ad. Let me see how it's doing. I need to tweak this and that. It feels like it's always pulling on you. And you have to just say, like you said earlier, it'll be there when I get there. Right now, I need to invest in my family, not my business.
Right.
I can't
it's
work
been
24 hours a day.
Right. It was so funny listening to you because that's what we had to do. We're new parents, and I know you and your wife, you guys have been together a while. So she understands what you do and, how passionate you are about what it is that you do. And I'm sure she's passionate about what it is that she does. Man, that calendar had to be our friend. We literally had to color code things because I took a majority of the calendar. My fiance does crypto. So the only thing he had was Friday nights crypto. And here I am, Monday, here, Tuesday. And I don't even have a full-time job. These are gigs that I am doing at home, and I'm like, hey, I got to be here. And I have a part-time that I will never let go because I like my discount. Shout out to Salon Centric. And so whenever I want to get hours, I can just hit them up like, hey, can I get some hours? So, I'm working, and I've been a grinder. I love it. I'm a workaholic, and I'm just used to working that way. Now, here's my challenge. I told y'all guys it was going to be a therapy session. My challenge is, especially being a first-time mom, I'm so used to working and just working it, and working it to death. And I work off of momentum. And I feel like once I got me a nice little system going, I got to keep going. I cannot stop. But when you have a child, you can't be on the computer 10 hours a day. You can't be on the computer 12, 15 hours a day like you used to, because, especially in what we do, guys, if you're just tuning in, if you do what, work in media, especially when you work for yourself, like you are your promotion, you are your manager, you are your sales, you are your face, you are everything, until you can get to a place where you can have other people help you out. You are you are the bells and whistles and whatever else, the gears you are and the brakes.
Right. You're everything. You're the handlebars, you're the gears.
And the person you just hit. Look, you them too. Yo. And so like we could go all day. We go all day with that. And so the reason I asked you, because for people like myself, this is all new. You're not just a new parent. You're navigating being a new parent, an entrepreneur, and a full-time parent. Like how in the world? And thank you so much. That nugget's gonna help me too. I'm gonna try to utilize it. I'm going to normally after my interviews, I edit. But I think I'm not going to edit today. I'm going to edit tomorrow so that I can get some more time with my son before he goes to bed. But all right, moving along. Do you take time for yourself?
Short answer is yes. But the reality is I know I don't take as much as I should. And that's something that I'm working on. I post on social media around Father's Day time. And I was like, my wife asked me, well, what do you want for Father's Day? And I was like,
sleep.
I don't know, right. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And so I was like, let me put this out there for my people to chime in on. And a young lady named Megan Middleton, I'll never forget this. I'll tell this story forever. And I don't even know if she knows this. So, hey, Megan. Megan responded and she said, you can buy all kind of things. She said, but you need to invest in something that is not a thing. You need to invest that recharges you, invest in an experience, something that you want to do that will allow you to like reset and recharge and that will be memorable. Right. And that rocked me. So a lot of people had said, get a this, get a that. It was all these gadgets and, different articles of clothing. Megan was like, invest in a memory.
Ooh, that's poetic.
And I was like, woo. I was like, this is good. And you know what my wife did? Her and the kids, my kids are amazing. Shouts out to Benjamin, to Hannah, and to Mia. They made me coupons. And they sent me on a staycation. So they got me a hotel room. They went to the store, bought all my favorite snacks and all my favorite little beverages, not drink.
And big red gum. I'm joking. Probably did though.
But they bought all of the things for the hotel room, and they bought me a staycation and just let me veg out for a day. It was literally like just it was an, I don't want to say just, it was an overnight. It wasn't like I went to Aruba or I went down the street, but it was man, we just want you to rest. You work hard. We know that you're doing the best. And that's what all the cards, it's like, we in you, we see you, we appreciate you. Go get some rest. And I'm gonna save those coupons forever, So I say all that to say that was like a mile marker in my life. Before these times that we're in right now, I love bowling. I would go bowling. If I told my wife I need to go to the bowling alley, she would know, like, I need a reset. I'll go bowling by myself. I will bowl for hours by myself. People don't even have to be there. I just go. It's so therapeutic for me. So things like bowling, but I haven't been bowling, during these times. So I don't unplug as much as I need to, but I have found a new love for movies. Like I before this, I was not a movie guy at all. I'm working on getting my black card because I haven't seen all the black movies, hadn't seen them yet. Still working on that. but had some friends put me on. I caught up on all the Marvel movies during this time.
Important.
So I have been I'm like, you know what? You need to unplug from all this work. Sit down and watch a movie and like lose yourself in a great movie, lose yourself in a great book. And I've been deliberate about reading more fiction. I always reading business and self-improvement and this and that to improve self-improvement and all, like get lost in a whole nother world. So I've been deliberate about reading fiction and just trying to do some more things like watching movies and things like that. So
I'm taking notes as you're talking. I'm taking mental notes as you're talking. I'm like, man, do I have a pen near me? Man, I mean, you just said so many interesting things. First of all, we are after the show, after we air this, but what have you not watched? I'm concerned. Now, Marvel, I can give you a pass because Marvel is very important. You have to watch all of those. So I can overlook movies because you watch Marvel. So I'll give you that. And then I was like, man, books, when you're in school and you love to read, you don't really get to read recreationally. And I keep telling myself, I want to read some self-improvement books. I want to create a Bible plan, all kinds of stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know what to read anymore because I told myself, man, I can't wait till I finish school so I could read recreationally, instead of having to read things I have no interest and no desire, and now look at me. But we'll get back to that. But I do want to ask you one more question before we step away today. What can we expect in the future of Big Red Radio?
Ooh, man, let me tell you, buckle up. So the Big Red Radio show is a play on the chessboard. It's just one move, right? It's for radio station ownership. That's my next. So when I look at, man, I want to take this inspirational hip hop, pop, R&B, music. I want to take it to the country. Well, you don't just take it to the country. You gotta, just like with anything, you gotta put your toe in a little bit first, right? You got to get people kind of used to it and rock with it a little bit. You can't just go run in the room like, hey, this is the new thing. No, they're not. You don't go tearing down old systems. It doesn't work like that. Right. You work your way in. So that's what this show is about. It's the introduction. It's, our tagline for the show is new voice of the gospel. So I'm working with, we're working with, it's not a new gospel. It's just a new voice. Right. Same gospel, same God. It's just a different voice. It's a different way of proclaiming his name. So we having to work that. We're working that through the airwaves. We're working that by getting an hour of airtime on stations that normally don't play this music. Right. So, we're blessed to be on the number of stations that we're on now. But the next play is me being the owner of radio stations across the country, so that I am the one that's, it's not 1 hour of programming. I control all 24 hours a day of that programming to
That's
inspire, an entire city with this format. So I think we are in the spirit. I really think we're breaking ground on a revolution that's taking place with inspirational music. I believe with everything in me that this is the future of inspiration. And I'm all in on that. So what's next for me is of course growing the show, still putting the show out there, but I'm also working on being a radio station owner. And I've been in a program through the National Association of Broadcasters. It's a amazing elite program called BLT, Broadcast Leadership Training. It ended up being a 2-year program for us because of the pandemic, but I was flying to DC every month, and it was an intensive, like MBA style program that taught us the ins and outs of radio and television station ownership. So I've been prepped for this level of my life, much like all those years in radio
Mm-hmm.
prepped me for the big radio. So BLT has prepped me to be an owner of a station and a second station and a third and a fourth. So that's the vision.
I love it. You know what? I got another. I can't think right now. It's late. I got another vision basically from what it is that you were saying. I mean, it's so crazy. Sometimes we look at what people are doing and we don't think about where they'll be in the next 5 or 10 years. We're so consumed with where you've been and where you are. Some people don't even realize what's happening behind the scenes, where they're going to see you next. You plotting, you planning. They don't even know. They don't need to know till they see you. Because sometimes you let too many people know, they try to bring their negativity and trying to bring you down. But I think that's amazing. And I'm gonna be praying with you, and brother, I'm gonna be praying with you, to make sure that you get there, that God prepares what it is that he's prepared for you, that you get there, you're gonna get there.
And part of that, I even contemplated whether or not to even say what I just said. As I was saying it, I was like, maybe you shouldn't say all of this, but people need to hear it.
It is.
In this case, first of all, it's accountability, because if people don't know what you're planning on doing, then they don't know if you've ever accomplished that thing or not.
Right.
So I put it in the atmosphere. I'm hearing myself say it, and others who are supporting me and who believe in me, they're watching it right now. They're going to remember this.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to check me on it. Yo, where you at with X, Y, and Z? Where you at with this? Where you at with this? That's the vision. So in this case, I want people to see God move because it's going to be a God thing. It ain't, you don't just up and buy a radio station.
Right.
I learned so much. There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of capital that you need to have up front. There's a lot of investment from your family that has to be there up front. So you don't just up and get a radio station. Right. It's going to take a lot, but it'll be worth it. So I wanted to say that, especially on your show.
I'm going to hold you accountable too. Now I am going to hold you, definitely hold you accountable. Well, guys, you heard it all right here from Big Red Stick of Bubblegum himself. All right. So Kevin, I do want to thank you so much for joining me. I knew we were going to have a great conversation. It's going to be, there's a lot of jewels here. A lot of jewels have been dropped today. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate you taking the time, scheduling this interview in your very, very big schedule. It's very deep, very long list of things you have to do. And I really do appreciate you taking this time to, chat with us today.
It's an honor to even be considered. And I don't say that. I mean that from the depths of my heart when I say that. You don't have to invite me. I watch your show, and I've never thought, I'm on the show. I enjoy the show. So when you said, like, hey, I want you to be on the show, I'm like, that people don't have to invite you nowhere. So I'm grateful that you thought that our conversation would add value to your listeners and your viewers, rather. That's that radio
sure.
in me. So I hope it has.
It will. It
Thank
definitely will. No problem at all. All right, guys. So if you are just tuning in, or if you've been tuning in, be sure to check out that radio station, guys. It's right there on his website. That's Big Red 2dsradioshow.com. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You can also check out his Instagram. That's Big Red Radio. And guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to give another shout out to Red. Thank you, Kevin, for tuning in. I mean, for being a guest again. And guys, thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode. If you haven't already, please be sure to like me on Facebook. You can check out my show there and YouTube. If you're watching there in YouTube, you can always check out my website. That's SierraArtemis.com. You can check out past episodes. This episode will be archived there as well. And you can get information on upcoming episodes. And also, if you want to be a guest on the show, you can always email me. That's SierraArtemis.com. That's my website. You can always check out SierraArtemis.com, but you can always send me an email to info@SierraArtemis.com. And guys, I just want to send you a reminder. It was a reminder that Kevin gave me, right? A vision. Make It Plain came from the good book, so it must be true. So make sure you guys do that. And again, I want to make sure that you guys tune in every Saturday at 7 p.m. right here to CTV.